in questions. Again, this is the Genius Insight app weekly support. I'm here to answer your questions and get you on board so that you're using the Genius to its full capacity. So first question that I had was from Surya. Surya, thank you for your question. And if we go into the bio field, Surya's question was, how can we transfer the acupuncture program from the Infinity into the Genius? And the good news is it's actually already been done. So the Meridians program is the full acupuncture program from the Infinity, now featured on the Genius. So all of the meridians are here, and then when you scan, all of the points are here. So it's exactly the same from that perspective. And, you know, of course, there's a lot of juicy additions that you can do, like adding in the progressive insight. So that was the first question. We also had a question from Floor. I think it was Floor, right? Floor is here today. And Floor had asked why, when I look at viruses, let's see if we can find that, why when I look at viruses and I test them in entangled insights, do I come up with a bacteria? And I know that Floor was really frustrated by that. Why would it, you know, must be the wrong information. And I know that now you're thinking definitely differently about that. And so Floor looked up, you know, what are viruses anyway, which I really highly encourage you. If I can suggest anything, it's, you know, really taking the initiative to learn to research things on your own. Definitely, that was fantastic. So let's look at this. And we were in viruses. And if we actually go to viruses over here and we go to this is the Entangled Insights, and we test all of them. Let's go ahead and give that a little check. And so we came up here on Entangled Insights with bacteria at the top. And of course, the reaction would be, well, there's something broken about the equipment, about the software here. Why would you get bacteria when you're drilling down information about viruses? And as we can see here, it's really good, another example here, we can see that actually a parasite has come up. Why has a parasite come up? And so Flora so very nicely looked up that viruses are basically RNA and DNA that lives, sort of programs itself through other organisms, whether they be your cells, right? It has to use your cells as the mechanism. They're the ultimate parasite. They have to get in and they sort of command your DNA and RNA to do things that will serve their purposes. And so you can have viruses that are within bacteria that are in your body. And you can have viruses that are within parasites in your body. There was a really great researcher that realized that often you can't get rid of candida until you get rid of parasites, because a lot of the candida live within the parasite. So until you clear the parasites, you'll never clear the candida. So very, very good sleuthing on the part of Floor. Excellent, excellent sleuthing around. And I really appreciate all of your questions. You know, keep the questions coming. And then I think that Surya had asked about the pH. So we do have the corresponding today's stress, which was similar. Today's risks was what it was in the Infinity. So this is similar. And there is an acid and alkaline piece here. So here the person would be considered to be too acidic. All right, so you could certainly balance that down here or balance it up here in the quick zap. All right, so now on to today's questions. And again, you can send me questions at ariel@awakentotalhealth.com. So let me just get that down here. Let's get some of your questions rolling. All right. Okay. ariel@awakentotalhealth.com. Whoops. All right, so I don't know what is going on here. Suzanne says, I used these links and they would not work. The one above, youtube.com watch, youtube.com, and this one at quantumhealthapps.com genius training videos. Okay, so something to be aware of is that I most definitely do not maintain any of those videos on the Quantum Health Apps site. So you should definitely email Ryan and find out why those links are not working. Suzanne, good question though. I have no clue as to why they're not working. What should the Apple update be? Patricia said, so as I said before right in the beginning, it should be 1.19. That's the version that we're on. If you don't have it, then make sure you try to update to it. We've talked about how we are not trying to get 85%, but how many times should we rerun our selection to reach at least 50%? Okay, so Mary Lee, where is your idea that you should get to 50%? What is your thought process around that? I can even unmute you if you want to ask your question live and in person. So here, I'll unmute you. Let's see if we have sound. Mary Lee, are you there?
Yes, yes, I am. I was just wondering how much we pursue that. That's all to understand, you know.
Yeah, well, let's keep you on here so we can that's okay. Let's drill that down together and let's have a conversation about it, because Ryan has given me sort of differing perspectives about this, and I want to sort of have your feedback and do this sort of in real time. So as you're using the program, I assume that you use you put things into the main hold tray, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you might have a number of things, and then how long do you typically do like one session of balancing after doing a progressive insights drill down?
Well, I normally would run it, you know, after I put all my selections in the main tray, I'd run it 3 minutes, and then I would recalibrate it to, you know, see if
Okay, yeah, let's hold it right there for a second though, because that's interesting, isn't it? Good. I love this. All right, so let's go into progressive insights and let's set it to, we're not going to sit here for 3 minutes, but let's just as an example. So let's drill all of that down. And what do you do? Do you select all of them, or do you select just the ones that are high? How do you approach that?
I've done it both ways, but I'm tending more just to select them all because it's quick.
Sure, and that's what people are interested in today, and you sort of cover all your bases that way, so select all is perfectly, wonderfully fantastic. Now, here's the thing.
I find the ones that are not high come up high the next time. So, you know, that's why it seems reasonable to do all.
Oh, that's interesting. Are you that doesn't make a lot of sense though? Are you finding that pretty consistently?
That the order shifts around. Yes.
Well, the order should shift around for sure, but the things that are low shouldn't consistently reappear as high. Maybe that's just sort of a random sort of an observation.
Yeah, well, I haven't really made a note of it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's all good. Okay, now, are you saying that when you get to the end of a like a balancing right here, that's when you're looking to see like, okay, can I at least get to 50% here? Where are you looking for the percentage of rectification?
Basically, I just go back, recalibrate, and then select all again, and I do that 3 times so that I'd run it 9 minutes in all, and then I look at the percentage. So I'm not really keeping an eye on that.
Okay, no worries. It's all good.
I do notice, you know, it can go.
Okay, that's awesome. However, the percentage is going to reset itself every time you do another 3-minute cycle. So then it's going to be really hard. So you're going to need to come up with another, and maybe Ryan needs to really come up with another, you know, measuring stick. So what I have found is that because the balancing is pretty efficient with the way that Ryan has set this up, is that by 9 minutes you're through a lot of things you would want to resolve in the course of a session. So there's a couple of things you could do. Is you see how it still says play here? So instead of reshuffling everything, what you could do is you could actually set this for a longer cycle, or you could just, I believe, if we hit a minute, I should have just done 1 minute. now I don't think it resets it. It's going to continue, and so it's going to give you a continuation percentage rather than resetting it if you go back to mix everything up again.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would probably be a better way of doing it. Or if you like the shuffling effect, then what you could do is just know that, hey, I'm going to do 12 minutes, and I'm just going to look for maybe that all of the items in this particular order, I'm going to, wait until only one is in the high zone. That might be another way of doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. I haven't approached it that way.
Okay, well, while you're on live, do you have any other questions, comments, or feedback? And did your husband get his gosh, darn it, golly, did he get his Genius activated?
Did you get your Genius
Well, I
activated?
got to the point where it said to
Oh, he's right there. I love it.
Yes, he's doing something else for me.
I got to the point where it said to download your panels, and I didn't know how to do that, and I got stuck. I was traveling, and I let it. So that's where I am.
Is your Genius activated though? Is it on? Is it activated?
Put in the
Can you
code,
use it?
and
All
it
right.
makes
Well, I don't
up.
want to get into it now. I'll tell you what. I won't get into a long conversation, but you guys contact me by email and let's have a phone call so we can figure it all out. Okay, you guys, thank you so much, and thank you, Mary Lee. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, good. I love that. It was nice to have a little live dialogue. So feel free to write in your questions, and we might unmute you today too. So other questions or anything that you'd like to ask about? So I want to reiterate for people who came on past the hour that we are into version 1.19. Make sure you're updated to the latest version because Ryan has spent a lot of time on the customized libraries, and I have to hand it to him. I almost thought he was never going to get the programmers to figure this out, and he did. So I mean, really give him kudos. And so now if you have customized libraries, all of the items and related items were jumbled up. And do we have Dolores today? Gosh, here we have this big triumph. We don't have our dear Dolores here, but she'll probably listen to the recording. So anyway, they were mixing them all up. They were different items were under different categories. Now it's all the correct items under the correct categories. So if you have customized panels, phew, you're finally able to use them. So it's been a huge relief. So do send me your questions about the program. The program is really shaping up these days. It's really getting a lot better. And Mary Lee, by the way, it looks like we did get to a higher percentage down here. See, after another minute, we got to an overall average of 39%. So, what I would actually recommend now, sort of thinking about this, that you do is start to observe on average how long working on a stable amount of frequencies does it typically take to get to 50, 60, or 70%. My guess is that you're going to find a pretty stable number. For example, it takes 12 minutes on any one set of frequencies to get to, I'm just going to say 60%. So I think you're going to find that fairly consistent, although there always are impediments to good balancing. So you may find that it changes. But really excellent question, you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I can't access Entangled Insights from my own panels. I'm pretty sure I was able to download that into the QI. Is that common for everyone? Oh, that's a really awesome question. Okay, Janet, let's see if we can unmute you for a second, get some sound here. You don't have sound. Okay, so if you want to unmute yourself in the next couple of seconds, you're welcome to. I think it's kind of fun today just to check in with people live and get to hear from people in the community. Hey, Janet, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay, if we have echo, it might not work, but so far you're good. So that's really something that nobody's asked before, but you're right. You were able to do the cross-analysis to any items in your customized categories.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, just you're kind of coming in loud there, but so that's interesting. Now I have had some trouble updating to 1.19 on my iPad, although I have it on my phone before I got in here today. So we may not have a perfect. Let's see what we've got here. And oh, so how are you finding the Genius? Using the Genius?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. It's a lot easier, I think, than the QI.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so let's go to this panel. Actually, that actually looks correct. Um, all right, let me mute you again because we're getting a little bit of background noise, and then I'll bring you on in just a moment here. Okay. So, but good to. I'm really enjoying hearing people live today. It's really fun. Okay, so release parasites from the gallbladder. Let's see if we. That's interesting. Oh wow. Okay, so let's ask. There we go. Okay, so all I did was did you. So Janet, let me see if I can get you back here again for a second. Janet, when you tried to go into, there you are, when you tried to go into these customized categories, did you swipe from right to left or left to right to get in there?
No, I didn't know to do that.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. What I'm doing right now with my fingers, I'm just allowing my finger to travel like a swipe like this. Whew, just like that. So try that, and that's how
Okay.
you take it here. So, oh, good question though. I love it, and I'm glad you're enjoying the Genius. You got anything else in your pocket there while I got you on live?
I don't think so. That's been kind of bothering me because I thought I could do it when I first got the Genius, and then I wasn't able to.
Okay. Oh, good.
So,
This is exciting. Okay, good.
thank you.
All right. All right. I love it. I love it. All right. So that's really fun. So releasing parasites from the gallbladder. Let's see if there was any emotions related to that. So that'll be fun, right? Let's just check that one. And it's good to know now that you can use your Entangled Insights, what used to be the cross analysis, with your customized panels. And I mean, I could just like jump up and down for joy that all of the panels are where they're supposed to be now. All of the correct items are under the correct categories. All right, hysteria, this is only 44%, but hysteria, embarrassment, awe, happiness, curiosity, suffering. It's interesting, some of the emotions that come up related to the gallbladder. Euphoria, horror, remorse, ecstasy. You know, we don't have to always analyze every emotion, and we don't have to be stuck if we go, well, I'm certainly not hysterical. Is that not dropping in there? This is something that I described last time when we had Dolores. We were talking. It seems like you need to really drop this deep in this screen. Tell me if you guys agree. So I have to bring it all the way down to that black line, even a little bit below that black line. And I don't think that's the same in the other part of the program, but you know, let me know what you guys think. So there we go. So that's fun, right? You guys, you don't always know why I think things could be coming up from past lives, you know, and emotions are so tricky. We're so often out of touch with the, you know, very deep subconscious issues that could be affecting us, you know, day to day. So I think what's interesting is if you actually took, I know I've always said like the top 3 and the bottom 1, but in Entangled Insights, I invite you to take maybe the top 5 and the bottom 5, or the top 10 and the bottom 5, and then drill them down in the Progressive Insights, because that's the power of Progressive Insights. It's going to take everything, see how those didn't go in, and then reset them again. So that's really, really fun. So let's go into the Progressive Insights and see now of all of these, what comes up, what sort of floats to the top here is kind of interesting. So suffering, and it isn't happiness, it's the person's approach or inability to experience true happiness that's coming through here. So if you wanted to, you could just say, hey, man, I'm just going to focus on these 2. I'm going to go for it here. And so you're going to really, really, really laser focus on those 2 emotions. That could be really, really powerful. And that's the reason that that person can't permanently get the parasites out of their gallbladder. So we could have added the parasites, we could have added some other frequencies about parasites in gallbladder, or gallbladder itself, or gallbladder meridian. That probably would have been powerful too. But do you ever know that person who, no matter how many parasite cleanses they do, no matter they stand on their head, they take all clove and wormwood and every kind of parasite cleaner, and still comes back, still comes back. So certainly could be related to an unresolved emotion. So this is good, really good information, really fun to drill this down. Okay, thank you, Janet. Good question. I love it. Okay, and Flor says, hi, Ariel. I'd like to know if there are any considerations about the Genius sessions with children with cancer. Oh, thank you. And you did send that to me, so I really appreciate it. Okay, it's telling us down at the bottom, I just want to jump in here for a second. Harmony, 15%, alignment, 12%, energy flow, 29%, overall average, 18% after 1 minute. So let's do another 1 minute and let's just curious, see what happens here. So again, Flor says, anything particular about sessions with children with cancer? There's nothing in particular. Well, there's a lot that we can say about cancer, okay? But there's nothing in particular that you need to do differently from person to person with regard to an overall session. And I just want to say that because there are some people who feel that they don't know enough about medicine or health in order to use the Genius. But the truth is that anybody can use it because it tells you what's out of balance. And often by helping to harmonize the things that are out of balance, you will do some good. Is it better the more you know about health concepts? Can you use bioresonance in a more effective and laser-like fashion? For sure. That's all along a spectrum. You can improve your efficacy. Okay, now we're at 20%. Let's hit another one. Let's keep doing this and see where we are. So first of all, about the frequency. I think in the last session, I was talking about Suzanne Covington and I had recorded this a training program we're working on for the Genius. And basically, what we discovered was really it's about every 72 hours. So doing a session about every 72 hours is really ideal. You don't actually gain a tremendous amount of benefit from balancing every day, although those who enjoy doing that and find it to be productive, you're welcome to do it. But it really takes about 72 hours for bioresonance to really take effect in your body, to really take effect in your energy field, in your body, mind, spirit, and so forth. So I would say about every 3 days for them to come in, if they're up to it. I mean, a child with cancer, maybe it's better if they just come in once a week because they may be quite toxic. Also, children are incredibly receptive to energetic medicine, as are animals, so they may only need 1 session per week. I'm sure it depends on how advanced their cancer is. If it's quite serious, you may feel that you want to have them come in more frequently or scan them more frequently. There's no downside really to having them come in twice a week as opposed to what I'd said once a week. You just want to make sure that you don't deplete them, you don't exhaust them through the process. Other than that, it's totally great for them. It's completely non-toxic, and it will help you to get to the root cause. I mean, often children with cancer, we have to scratch our heads, and it could be something that was a congenital issue. We know that happens, but if it was not a congenital issue and they seem to acquire it in the early years of their life, we do have to scratch our head and say, my goodness, what type of exposure did they have? And bioresonance can help you to drill that down and find out, was it heavy metals? Was it a virus? What was it that caused that? So it certainly can be very, very helpful. And of course, as I've taught with the Infinity, I never recommend that this be the only thing that the child is using, and also that they are working with a health practitioner, even if it's a naturopathic health practitioner that also uses energy medicine, but someone who can really guide the way and give feedback. But certainly bioresonance can be incredibly powerful in the sessions that you do. The other thing that you could do is you could do shorter sessions more frequently. So if you really wanted to do something daily, so you felt like you were doing something, you could just do maybe limited sessions, maybe just nine minutes a day or something for that child, and see how they're responding. Now look at this. This is interesting. So we just did a couple of frequencies here for maybe 4 minutes, and we're already at 39%. So again, this is what I was talking about the efficiency of the Genius, the ability for it to balance much more quickly. And Floor, what I would recommend that you do is check out my special customized panels. I do have a series of panels that are made just for cancer, and there's one panel for the immune system, and one panel for the liver, and one panel for underlying infections, and one panel for digestion, and all of these things together help you to get a better sense of what's going on, what the causative factors are, and what you need to do to really help this child to get better. So I will email you a link to those customized libraries if that's something that you might be interested in availing yourself to. Oh my goodness. Surya says, I was using it on an injured kitten who was almost eaten by a dog and rescued. The mind was more traumatized even than the body injured. He relaxed during a treatment and then got up with tons of energy. Hey, Surya, thank you. If there's anything about that particular, oh, now we're going backwards. We did sort of retrograde a little bit here into 38%. That's really interesting. You know, that can be a learning moment that if you start to actually go back, that may be telling us that we're done here, that we're done with this particular cycle. So Mary Lee, there's another piece of information for you. We hit a high of 39%, and if we go down again, my guess would be we're better off really either maybe reshuffling things and see if there's a new thing that's high. We may have sort of hit what we needed to do in that layer. Now we've got suffering, happiness, and love coming up, so we may be balancing sort of at a deeper level. So there's another one for you. When you get to a percentage that is going down instead of going up, it's time to stop and start a new cycle. So Surya, what frequencies did you use? What did you do to balance? Is there anything you want to tell us that's really fantastic? I've had a bird that flew into a window and that was really, really shocked and wasn't sure it was going to make it, and did some balancing on the bird and flew away the next day and seemed to be fine. So in the glands screen, I got a high score for ovaries and testes for a male client. Any idea what that means? So certainly this has been a bit of a interesting dance from people. I got a message from somebody the other day that said that they would really like to be able to choose male and female in the beginning and then just have those frequencies specifically for men and women. There are bioresonance programs out there that will ask you to indicate male or female, and they'll only run the different glandular systems for that person. Now it's interesting, it's gone to an overall of 40%. Now I'm a bit suspicious that maybe it does not reset itself. So I'm going to have to get clarification with Ryan on what is going on in these lower percentages here. I'm going to write that down to check in with him. It looks like actually when you go back out and reshuffle everything that it's not resetting itself. And that's news to me. I didn't know that. So let me see if I can find that out from him. Okay, so Flor, men and women have a lot of overlapping hormones. Men have a certain amount of estrogen. Often they're affected by exogenous estrogens. Women have a certain amount of testosterone. So if you see ovaries and testes out of balance, then you should interpret that as a hormonal imbalance. So it's fine for you to balance ovaries for men or testes for women, even though it seems really weird because you're most likely helping them to balance their hormones. So that's the deal with that. It's not uncommon. I mean, we do, you know, I've seen in standard process where they have bioresonance testing, you know, for standard process remedies, and you'll have sometimes, or the muscle testing that they do in standard process, and you'll have Orchex or, you know, some of the weird things that are more remedies usually for men that come up for women. And hey, it's very common for women over 40 to get low testosterone, resulting in low libido or bone loss or just loss of drive. And that really can help with that. So no worries about that. If something's out of balance, you can always harmonize it. There's no downside to it. How do you read essential oils? There's no deep interpretation of the essential oils panel. It's simply telling you that you need the essential oil. So until we come up with maybe some videos specific for the different panels, I would just go online and Google the essential oils. It's no more a deep interpretation than just looking up the oils. What are the oils typically used for? Other than that, you can certainly use their resonances. Every resonance of a remedy has a power to it. So if you need an oil, you need the frequency of the oil. And the frequency of the oil certainly has relevance. Reading the meaning of the remedy certainly has relevance. So all of those things can be, really, really helpful. But there's no deep meaning or anything to the essential oils. It's just really learning about essential oils to give them meaning. Perhaps supporting them with the vitamins, minerals, aminos can help with each session and maybe focus on certain areas on different days. It says Sherry about the, hey Sherry, good to have you here, about the child with cancer. Mary Lee says, given that the Genius sound is so much more sophisticated, delivered through good headsets, have you and Suzanne worked out what the percentages effectiveness is in long distance sessions without the person in the session? Well, let me say this, that's not exactly, thank you, because I want to clarify something. The binaural beat technology does add a dimension to the program that is more accessible through stereo headphones. However, that is not the only, as you put it, how did you put it? Okay, the sophisticated delivery of frequency is not just through that. All right, let's go to frequency, shape, and form so I can say more about this. Okay, so for Mary Lee and for everyone, what Mary Lee said is really, since you're getting so much additional benefit through the stereo headphones, what do we do with our long distance clients? So the really additional benefit through the stereo headphones is through the binaural beat technology, which is transferred or given to you through the energy entrainment volume, right? So if you want a lot of binaural beat energy because you're listening through stereo headsets or somebody is with you in person where you're doing their session, then by all means, crank it up to 100%. You're getting a lot of good binaural beat, helping the brain to process the frequencies more efficiently and effectively. However, if you take the binaural beat technology out of the equation for all of your long distance work, you're still getting a tremendous amount of benefit because just in general, the frequency generation that Ryan has, which works through the Schumann resonance to reach people long distance, very, very effective, just as it was on the Infinity. In addition, he's gotten some help from Garnet, which we've talked about before, to have this archetype encoding process, which reaches people through the deep subconscious. It's not even a frequency that can be described. It's very specific for them, helping them to make a very powerful transformation with these frequencies. So all of that is going to happen long distance, not through the stereo headphones, as well as all of these other types of waves. So the intensity, the wave shape, the wave form is unimpeded through the long distance frequency generation. So good question and good opportunity for clarification. So the only reason to add the sound aspect is when you're using the binaural beats, although you also do pick up a lot through the ears. So, rapid eye therapy, the left and right brain, rapid eye therapy started with sound tones that were played in the ears, and the original teacher, the original creator of rapid eye therapy, it actually was a right and left brain listening. You get two headphones when you're working out your trauma. You get a set of headphones and you hear something in the left and then you hear something in the right. It's not binaural beat, but it's sort of the same idea in that you're helping information to move across both, from one, of course, across the corpus callosum from left hemisphere to right hemisphere. It's really interesting. You can also get, there's a little bit of controversy about LAD, but you can actually get, if you have seasonal affective disorder, there are now these headsets, these earbuds that you put in your ear and the LED light shines in your ear, and you receive the frequency that way, rather than actually looking at the frequency. So that's, really interesting as well. Good question. I love it. Okay. Floor says, where can I find the toxic metals list and screen? I do have a special customized library for this, and so I'll send that to you, Flora, along with the cancer items. You need the high numbers. I don't know what that means. Surya says you need the high numbers. Don't know what that means. Let me know. Surya, how do you use the Genius for wound healing? So, Patricia, whatever you did for the Genius, that's a good question. Is there no injuries panel on this? I'm starting to think oh, maybe there's not. So, whoops, I don't want to do that. So a lot of people would do wound healing with the injuries panel, but so there's no injuries panel on here. That's absolutely fascinating. Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to have to give that some thought, but certainly working on the immune system. You could work on spinal energy. Let me give that some thought. Regarding the question on headphones versus distance sessions, I do all of my sessions, says Susan, in distant mode. I have excellent results as far as accuracy and efficacy. It is a non-issue. Susan, I love it. Thank you so much for that comment. Mary Lee says, really helpful on the layering versus long distance. Thanks. Absolutely. Really, guys, you guys brought it with the questions today. And so you need the high numbers that related to essential oils. Surya, I'm still not totally sure what you're saying. So let's go to, are the essential oils in, I'm assuming they're in body. Here they are. So essential oils, and she's saying you need the high numbers. Okay, I'm going to make up a interpretation of your question, and I'm going to assume that you're saying if you have high numbers, does that mean you need the essential oils? So I'm just going to make that up and imagine that's your interpretation. So definitely for a remedy, highs and lows are indicated as resonant with that person. Usually interpret as having a potentially therapeutic benefit if you would run the resonance for them. Or if you look more deeply into the actual remedy, there may be benefit for them to actually use that remedy. So high numbers and low numbers, so red and blue numbers would be the most resonant or have the most affinity for that person's energy field. That's the way that I would interpret it. Okay, does that help? Good questions, you guys. Such good juiciness. So anybody would like to share live and in real time how they're using the Genius? Susan, we'd love to hear from you. You're such an experienced biofeedback practitioner. If you have a testimonial or anything you could tell us about working with your clients, certainly would love to hear from you or anyone else. If I haven't answered your question, sort of retype it in. And Suzanne, on the video note, I would really recommend that you utilize my YouTube channel. So just type in my name on YouTube and all of my videos are there for you. At your convenience, at your fingertips, they're all free. And I've got every video going back to the beta launch. So just type in my name to YouTube and subscribe to my channel, and they're all there. And I think you'll find them really helpful. Okay. Could you send me the link that you were using? Release parasites. Oh, that's the gallbladder one. For sure. Okay. Tried your YouTube and the same thing happened. Was it for that particular link? Because I think all of my videos on YouTube are active. So why don't you let me know if it was one particular video? Can you email me? All of my other videos, as far as I know, are working completely fine in terms of the Genius videos. So if it's one particular one, let me know. Let's find out what happened with that video. Maybe it didn't upload correctly. That could happen. Okay, Surya says, how do you transfer your categories? I have already from the Infinity to the Genius. So I do have an entire video on this on my YouTube channel called How to Transfer Your Database. So Surya, look for that on my YouTube channel. That's one of the earlier videos about the Genius. But basically, if you go to your navigation and then you go to Settings, import your Dropbox from your database. You're about to overwrite your Genius database with your Dropbox database. Would you like to continue? So yes, you would like to continue probably if it's your first time. The real problem comes in, as I took up in painstaking detail in that video, how to transfer your database from your Infinity to your Genius. It is going to it's probably going to take you at least 30 minutes, if not longer. The problem is that the way, unfortunately, that the Infinity was set up to back up its data. So when you're in the Infinity and you go here, you cannot go in here and just go to backup. You have to point the Infinity towards the Dropbox that is yours. And in order to do that, and this is just, you know, it's like the procedure is so complicated, it's amazing that anyone can figure it out. You have to export a frequency from your very own Dropbox. That means you need to have created the frequency yourself inside your Infinity. So, you know, how confusing can we get? So you have to be in your own Infinity, you have to be open to your own Dropbox, you have to create your own category, and then you have to export your own category into your own Dropbox. So you have to write down your serial number. I go through this literally step by step in the video until you point one category in the direction of your own Dropbox, meaning you export it to that Dropbox, your own Dropbox first. No matter how you try to back up your database, it will get backed up into probably my Dropbox or Ryan's Dropbox. And so unfortunately, when you try to bring it into your Infinity, what happens is people are very puzzled as they try to pull it from their own Dropbox and bring it into their Genius. They're like, well, I can't understand this because it says it's not there. Well, it's not there because it's in somebody else's Dropbox. And it might be mine, it might be Ryan's. And so you have to go to that video, watch it in painstaking detail. You have to export a category into your own Dropbox. Then you can go back to the Infinity. You can back up your Dropbox successfully into your very own Dropbox. And then you will be able to use this, import the Dropbox database, and it will bring your categories in. Remember that even after you get your categories in here, like you see mine, you have to add them to each client. So I'm working with Ryan to see if he can change this. I don't think it's going to happen overnight. So you have to make sure that when you want to get a category, test a category, you're going to have to assign it to the client that you want to test them for. I'm sorry, for the category you want to test for that client. And I know it's a bit painstaking, so definitely tell Ryan that you're not a fan of the way that this one, the way the Genius does this. He needs to get more input from people to understand that's not sort of the, you know, the ideal way to get the information. Okay, so Annette says, I got on late this evening. Did I miss your protocol for balancing the cold and flu this season? We didn't get a chance to do that, Annette, so hopefully we'll get to do that next week. So other questions, you guys? What other issues are you having with your Genius that you wish could be improved or you're finding to be problematic? Definitely, this is a good time to let me know. Like I said, for me, it's a relief that these categories are finally correct here. When you do have someone you want to add the frequencies to, let's just say we wanted to check the blood pressure categories, we simply go to Add to Client, and then we have to scroll here I think I may have added all of these before. So we just go to the blood pressure categories here. So we just want to add these three, and then we hit OK, and it'll assign it to that particular client. I've actually selected all of the libraries and assigned them to this particular client already, so it's not going to work. Then a couple of things here. In order to create a category, you can go to your libraries, and if you hit the plus at the top, it's going to start off with a category name. So you can put in here, let's just say orchid essences. Oh, that's lovely. Why is that not working? Okay. And again, I have no idea why you need a category description. Doesn't make any sense to me, but there we go. Orchid essences. All right, and then we save it. Then we go down to orchid essences, and then we can hopefully add an item here. So wait, before you begin, do you want to add individual items to your category library? Okay, so actually don't know too many of these, so let's just say orchid remedy 1. No, see, that's not right. That's not, I'm doing it wrong. That's how confusing the process still is to me. So here we are in the essence. See, we want Ryan, because what we really want to do is we want to be able to import. So what we have to do is, let's try to import it here. Then we have to go import remedy. No, we don't. Sorry, this is my orchid. My brain is being fried right now. Orchid remedy 1. All right, and then what you do is you hit import now. To try to comment on how frustrating this has been for me is, I can't even describe it, but this is how it is. So we used to tell people in the Infinity this is not the proper way to create a whole linguistic category, but now it is. So, okay, so we want to add the item, and there it is. Now we want to do that again. Import. Now we want to say orchid remedy 2. Import now, and that's how you do it. Even for a whole linguistic, it'll add in the frequencies. Do I think it's the best way to do it? I don't, but that's what we're left with here. So hopefully, what can I say? That's the process. Is there any way to clean up the libraries? I have a total mess there. Eli, even if you have a total mess, when you go to 1.19, it will clean up the mess of the categories that you have. If it does not, then what you'll need to do is you'll need to overwrite those by restoring the backup from your database. And for more specific instructions, I would definitely send you over to Ryan. So if you're afraid to do that, but personally, my own categories, which I wrote, right, which are probably, a lot of the ones that you have, they were all mixed up, and it was really, really frustrating, and it was definitely moment to moment to see if this was all going to work out. However, it totally did. When Ryan upgraded to 1.19, whatever magic he did over, whatever fairy dust he put over the coding, they're now all in perfect order, and I have not found one that's out of order. So see if when you upgrade to 1.19, if you don't find the same thing. In that case, if you don't, you may need to just re-import the database from your own backed up version of your Dropbox. And again, if you're hesitant at all to do that, then email Ryan first and let him walk you through it. I'd like to learn some more about the brain EEG section. Can you tell us something about it? Okay, good question. That is a good question. Let's see if we can get to it. I still get crashes on the Genius, says Sherry, frequently. Have updated everything as recommended. Wondering if it is my iPad or internet connection. Does not happen with the Infinity when I use it. Sherry, it is possible, although when you tell Ryan that people are still having crashes, he's in total denial. He says it's not possible for it to be crashing if you have an updated version of iOS. So if you have updated to the latest version of iOS, he says it's impossible for it to be crashing. So what it leads me to believe is that he is being accurate, but it is indeed the internet connection. So if you have an unsteady internet connection, it is, right now, it is doing back and forth feedback all the time to the server. We are waiting for the 100% offline version, which Ryan is working on. When the offline version is complete, I would suspect that you would have fewer crashes. However, I would absolutely email Ryan and ask him for feedback and to find out why you're still crashing. So please do that when you have a chance. Please show us how to get the customized panel again. Weren't you paying attention the first time? Okay, let's see. My Genius started blowing off today. Didn't used to do that, but at 3 times this afternoon. So Annette is saying blowing off. I'm assuming that's a way that she's saying it's crashing. Again, I would just go ahead and email Ryan right away and let him know. I personally don't have any control over that, and I've been told by Ryan that it shouldn't be crashing anymore. So one more time, to create a customized panel, first you create a category. So what we did was we started off by just hitting the plus sign here, and we had created the orchid essences, and then we had to scroll down to O for orchid essences, and then we're in orchid essences. So now what we need to do is we need to hit the items button right here, and it should take us here. Now, even though it says add manually, that's not, no. That's only when you want to do frequency or frequency sweep. Instead, if you want to do hololinguistic or actually imprint it, you now hit import. Does it make sense? Again, don't ask my opinion on that, but this is how you do it. Okay, orchid remedy 2. And now you don't do anything else here. This is just hololinguistics. If you had it on your imprinter, either way, if you were imprinting it digitally, it would pick up that there's a wire connected between the Genius and the imprinter, so that's how it would know. Instead, we're doing it hololinguistically, so since there's nothing connected, it defaults to hololinguistic, and now it adds the hololinguistic version of whatever that orchid remedy is. And that's how you do it. So a little bit more laborious, but still totally doable. Okay. So what's the other one? I'd like to learn more about the brain EEG section. So I don't really have time to do that today, so okay, so it didn't add that second remedy. That's really, I don't know if I keep hitting cancel. Is it because I thought I keep hitting add item. I must be because I keep hitting cancel. Let's see if it's not adding it. Let's see, orchid, just do orchid 2 really fast. Let's do add item. Please add the frequency. I have to put at import now. So it imports it imports the hololinguistic frequency. And I asked Ryan several times, I said to him, that doesn't make sense. But he said that this is now the new way to do it hololinguistically. So let's see what happens. And then add item. So there it is. Okay, so that did it. I kept hitting cancel, that's why. So about the brain EEG, we are working on a full training program, and I would sort of refer you to the training program where we're going through each of the screens and how to use the program. The brain, let me just mention it really briefly, the brain EEG is within the mind, and what the brain EEG does is it looks at certain frequencies like beta, gamma, theta, and I did a course on this about the brain and talked about the brain EEG program. It was in the Infinity, but it's really just the same, because the way to make the most out of this is to really learn about alpha, beta, theta, gamma, and decide which frequency, what are you working on? Are you working on beta focus? Are you working on alpha, which is more meditation and opening yourself up? Are you working on theta, which could be working on the deep, subconscious, what aspect do you want to work on, and that's how you can sort of make the most of this. So I recommend still just balancing one brain frequency at a time. I think it's more efficient if you do it that way. So probably just working with one brain frequency up in the quick zap for maybe 3, 6, or 9 minutes could be beneficial. Like if you're having low beta issues, you could run this low beta frequency while you're doing active work. So if you're doing office work or something like that, you could be working on the low beta to help you to focus. It's really, really for good focus. So people who are like ADD might have low beta. And when you're really trying to, well, I won't go into all of them, but we can go into it next time. So if you remind me next time, Flor, I'll be happy to go more deeply into the brain program and how to use it in different ways. You guys, fantastic questions today. I love it. You made it a very, very interesting session. And I really, really appreciate all of the great questions, and I appreciate your attendance. So thank you so much. I'm sending you much love and positive energy from Portland, and Flor says thanks from Mexico. Good wishes from Mexico. I love it, and good wishes to everybody joining us from all over the globe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And Sherry, thank you, and thanks everyone for your attendance today. I'll be back next week at 4 o'clock Pacific. The balancing is just going to get better and better, you guys. Ryan has new stuff coming down the road, stuff that's going to really make you happy that you invested in the Genius, because it's really dynamic. It's really different from anything that we used in the Infinity. And you see he's really been cleaning everything up on the Genius in terms of things that were quite frustrating in the first few weeks. So send him some kudos. He's done a great job, and certainly send him feedback, the places he can still be improving. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye for now. Be well.